Hey guys. Okay, so before anything else with this chapter, I gotta talk about the beginning of this chapter, where we see Ivory and Hermit walking out fully healed, each gun strapped and packing like characters out of Rambo or the Expendables ready for some good old fashioned blood, some good old fashioned like Prince bloody like bloody bullet revenge. And let me tell you, never before in my short time on this channel watching anime, reading manga, have I ever seen something so badass, so frightening, and yet so hilarious in my life. Like, honestly, just the image of Ivory and Hermit and it's holding those guns evokes this incredible sense of pretty much fear from them. Like these two ladies are packing, you do not want to mess with them. But at the same time, when you sit back and examine the scene as just a nun and a little girl armed to the teeth, it's kind of fucking hilarious. Again, Masha managed to take a scene that shouldn't work and made it amazing. Again, just a simple panel of seeing Ivory and and Hermit wielding what's essentially this world's versions of, I guess, of pretty much like semi-automatic guns. That shit is, it's both, of course, it's amazingly hype. Of course, for as hype as the image in itself is, it does. I like how it does still come back with the, how it does still circle back with the scene. It's with the context of the scene having honestly a lot of heart, and I like how we see Ivory and her. I like how a lot of that beginning portion of the chapter was seeing Ivory and Hermit's willingness to go on this crusade against Shura to save Witch. And how it ties back into the idea of just not wanting to lose any more comrades, specifically, and specifically how it shows that they don't want to lose any more comrades, because even now Valkyrie's death specifically is tied to that fear, and they don't want another situation like what happened on Sun Jewel, and and seriously. How is Couch Po becoming one of my favorite characters of the Eden's crew as of late? Like, supposedly she's only there as a temporary member, but right now she's not only the only one who's kept her composure the most, surprisingly, but she's also the one reminding everyone to have faith, which for his which, don't get me wrong, are corny ideas to have in a situation like this, but at the same time. In situations like this that are desperate and dire, and that have like desperate and dire circumstances, and just has everyone just kind of willing to do anything and everything reckless in order to get someone back. It's something that's like seeing Couch Po like so much willing in order to be the voice of reason in these situations. It's something that is kind of welcome and needed, I think, in situations like that. Like you do still need that voice of reason, I think, and I like how Couch Po is the one being that. Now, obviously, the big thing to talk about with this chapter is our heroes come face to face with Ijuna and her powers of, I don't know, I guess warping people's emotions and feelings of love before Laguna steps in, which is where we learn Ijuna is in fact the princess, and obviously. The reveal in itself is the least surprising thing, but with the immediate friction we establish between Laguna and Ijuna, and combine that with the nature of her powers and how she uses them on Shiki and Rebecca, I feel that in itself already gives us an insight into why she faked her death and why she abandoned Oasis, and how it seems to be tied to the idea that there is still something Laguna hasn't revealed yet, and if we're getting into specifics, just based off what I've seen of this chapter, it's definitely, I think it's definitely a love affair situation. Like Laguna more than likely fell in love with Ijuna, and Ijuna in the same breath fell in love with him, and Laguna like had wanted her to run away with him. But then something happened where Laguna probably thought she died. She did in fact die, but Ijuna actually survived, and because of that misunderstanding of Laguna thinking she was dead, she probably felt abandoned, and decided to use her death to her advantage to kind of start, I guess, her life anew. The only question that still remains is how she ended up in Shore's employ, and even more so, like, why specific. I guess the other question is why specifically, if what I'm saying is the case, why specifically would she not return to Oasis? That's the other thing. But honestly, I hope there's more to the story than what I just laid out, or Mashima's got some kind of twist he's gonna put on it. Because if not, this feels like the part of the arc that's gonna quickly become the most predictable. But again, we'll have to wait and see how exactly this plays out. I'm willing to kind of just I'm willing to kind of wait and see right now, but I will be curious, like, if we're gonna get like I think it feels like we're probably gonna get a backstory next chapter, or at least in the next couple chapters, and I think that we'll pretty much get our answers there, I guess. Also, I feel Mashima was just having with the whole thing of how Ijuni used her powers on Rebecca and Shiki. I feel that was Mashima having a little fun with the readers, and him kind of, and just by nature of Juna's power was Mashima's way of him trolling the fan base a little bit. Like, it's him saying maybe they will vote, maybe they won't. That's up to you to decide. It's one of those things where it almost kind of feels it almost kind of feels like a bit of a response to the years of seeing the Nazi and Lucy shipping that happened through fairy tales. So this is his jab at all that, like his way of kind of getting in on the joke of saying, hey, so it didn't happen in fairy tale, maybe I'll ship it here too, maybe. And him just kind of toying with us. With that said, this chapter was definitely one of the more odd scenarios in terms of pacing, because in a lot of ways the chapter had a more consistent pace, and ended at a much better spot in comparison to previous chapters before. It felt like there was supposed to be one or two more chapters. Yet at the same time, it still does feel like there's still more that could have been done or was cut short with this chapter. Almost like Mashima was with Eden Zero nowadays. It feels like one of those situations where Mashima has a lot more ideas than what the chapter itself can contain. So he has to rework certain things, but I don't know if that's actually the case, but it certainly feels like it. And it's actually an even weirder thing to bring up, but the other problem I had with this chapter is that near the end of the chapter, like, for the most part, the paneling was actually pretty fine in this chapter, but near the end, it felt a little off. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because of the size of the panels or something, but something did feel a little off in certain respects. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. Follow my Twitter, Analyst, Crunchyroll. Be sure to hit that notification bell, hit the subscribe button, and just share the video around, guys. Dead Knight of Anime, signing off. Later.